Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly series of Z Talk. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far with all the vendors that we've been interviewing here. Today, I have a very interesting technology from Okta, and I guess a lot of you may wonder what Okta is, OKTA, and that's why I have Josh and Lance here, my two friends and colleagues. We've been working some accounts here in South Florida, and I thought it'd be a good time for them to come on board and speak to my audience and my viewers and talk about who Okta is, what they do, how they do it, and then if there's any interest out there, give me a call and we'll put it together. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Josh, and then he'll lead the show, and then we'll go to Lance a little bit later. So thank you, guys. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Henry, for having us, first of all. We're both, Lance and I have been at Okta for about 2 years, so we're really excited to participate in this tech talk with you. So I'll start kind of by going through how Okta came to be and where we fit in the space, and then do kind of an overview of what we do as a company. It used to be that organizations were pretty simple in terms of their infrastructure. They would purchase all their technology from one monolithic provider. Maybe it was Oracle, maybe it was Microsoft, but it all came from one vendor. And because of that, it integrated all really nicely together. But today, organizations are much more different. They're much more complex. So we're seeing that there's a big explosion in the adoption of cloud technology. The best in breed technology is moving to the cloud. With Office 365, for example, the best HR systems are moving to the cloud with Workday and UltiPro. But we're seeing that there's a large adoption because the best technologies, it's moving to the cloud. And organizations today still need to leverage their on-prem applications as well as their cloud technologies. And that complexity is kind of where we saw the opportunity in the market. Our CEO used to be the vice president of engineering at Salesforce. He saw that people are adopting more and more cloud tech, and he saw a need to make it more simple to access that technology and manage users across that tech. And so our mission as a company is to enable organizations to use any technology that's best for their business. And we want to make it easy for them to access any tools that they need to do their best work. So that's our kind of our mission, as Okta. And today, we're the leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We actually created the entire category, and we've been setting the standard in terms of execution and vision ever since. Today, Okta has about 2 billion identities in Okta. There's 500 million web requests. We have 50 million authentications every day, and we're used across every single vertical. So it doesn't matter if you're a 1 to 2 man IT shop or a Fortune 500 company, because the platform is so flexible and it's designed to integrate. We have a lot of folks that use us across every vertical, no matter if you're a small or a large company. In terms of our customer base, again, we're used across healthcare, technology, finance, government uses us. We're used for both B2B and B2C use cases as well. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why we're so successful as a company is because we always are customer first. The main thing that we do when we engage with any organization is we listen first. We want to understand what their business objectives are, just as much as we do their technical requirements to make sure that we can deliver on what the business needs. We have a really deep and broad integration network, and I can't stress that enough. The identity as a service space, it's really all about integrations, enabling organizations to use the disparate tech that they have. So having a really deep integration network is really important. And because our platform is built to integrate, we're standards-based. We can use SAML authentication, any modern auth protocol with Okta. And today we have 6,500 plus applications in the network. And that goes a really long way. So you don't have to build out new connectors. It's really plug and play with this integration network, which really makes it easy to deploy and easier for you to administer as an IT shop. The other part of it is we have some of the world's largest customers using Okta. So there's over 5,000 companies that leverage Okta today. It's a really reliable solution. And again, we're the leader in both Gartner and the Forrester Wave. So we're 2 for 2 on that front. In terms of what we do for companies and the business value that we offer, first and foremost, we want to enable businesses to grow. Identity is a key component of that. Growth requires you to add new technology to be more agile. It requires you to add new employees and enable them to do their best work with any technology out there, no matter what it is. And so the first thing that we try to do is we want to enable businesses to grow as best as we can by connecting them to whatever tech that they need, and allowing them to add employees really quickly, add customers really quickly with the identity platform we have. The other component is we want to make sure businesses are really secure. Identity is very much the perimeter today. People are accessing your technology from both inside and outside the firewall, from multiple devices, multiple geographies. And we verify they are who they say they are before they can access anything in the network. And the other part of it is decreasing costs and increasing efficiencies. So along with keeping your organization secure, making it easier to scale, we want to make sure that we can automate as much as we can and decrease costs and get rid of any manual identity functions that you have. Provide like automation for your provisioning and deprovisioning process, making it easier to reset passwords and access applications for your employees. That's kind of what we try to deliver as a company. So some of the use cases that we have, protecting against data breach and modernizing IT, we just talked about a little bit. But organizations really benefit when there's more complexity. So anytime that an organization's adding more users by increasing in size, doing M&A, growing through organically, we're adding more customers. That's something that Okta handles really well. We provide you a centralized place where you can store all of your users, one single place to access their technology. Then we can automate the user management from this single portal. And we offer a slew of products to help you with that. The one that we're best known for is single sign-on, which is quick access to all of your technology and leveraging our integration network. We have a universal directory where you can aggregate all of your users into one single place. You can integrate with multiple AD environments using that. We have adaptive multi-factor authentication. You can leverage any factor. We can integrate with third-party multi-factor authentication tools. And we can be really flexible on that front. You can actually apply policies to make it really much more secure and flexible when you prompt for MFA, geolocation, geovelocity, all included. And then the automation component, making it easy to create, update, and delete users in your downstream applications too. So we're definitely an end-to-end identity management provider. In terms of today, with COVID, we think that identity is more important now than ever. Organizations have to adapt to a new way of working, and enabling access across any device, any technology, to any application is really important. And the perimeter is very much identity now more than ever because users have to access their apps from home. They're accessing it from their iPads, their workstations. And what we do is we try to make it really easy for them to do that and secure. So Okta provides a single place, a dashboard where you can access your applications, again, on any device. It can be your workstation, your iPad, or your cell phone. And it's quick access to pretty much anything that you would need. So the idea is you authenticate once into Okta, and then it's quick access to any app. It's one central place that you can get anything you need to do your work. We really want to reduce time for onboarding and offboarding. It can be really challenging when employees are all working remote and you're adding users. Maybe people are leaving the organization. All the while, people are changing roles at the company, and we want to automate as much as we can. So with our lifecycle management and workflows, you're able to automate the create, update, and delete users, add users with high velocity, and deprovision users when they leave the company very quickly. And with workflows, you can actually take steps after the user is created in the application. So perhaps you assign them to Box. We create the user in Box, assign them folders, and take the actions necessary after they're created to give them the access they need in that application.
Yeah, and one thing I just wanted to point out. So, a lot of people know Okta traditionally for our single sign-on capabilities, and are surprised to learn more about the other things that we can do, and especially the lifecycle management piece that Josh just walked through. Whether you're a very fast-growing startup or SMB company, or a large organization that's frequently onboarding and offboarding users, the ability to automate that onboarding to all the various tools that companies have is such a time saver, and really helps from a security perspective too, to ensure that people who have left the organization don't have lingering access to apps. Because and Josh, I know you've experienced this too. Some of the organizations that we're working with these days have 20, 30, 40, 50 different software tools that someone needs to be given access to or have access taken away from. And that being able to automate that process really is such a game changer. So wanted to just kind of pop in and highlight that. But Josh, I'll pass it back over to you.
That's such a good point, Lance. And I think like the core of identity is really just ensuring that the right people have access to the right technology at the right times. And that's what Okta is at its core. That's what we enable organizations to do. And a really good example of this is Capital Group. Having to transition to work from home so quickly, and leveraging Okta, they're able to enable their workforce really quickly. 5 days to enable thousands of employees to work from home and get access to the things that they need, so that there's no, they don't skip a step. They can keep their same level of productivity as they transition. And it's an 80% increase in their VPN access. So making sure it's secure and it's all brokered through Okta has been a really big value add for them. So that's a high level of our workforce products that we do. We have some customer examples here. Experience another good example of that automation component. They're able to save about $1 million by automating with Okta, where tasks are once manual. But there's a couple of customers here that do what's called customer identity, which Lance can talk through a little bit more detail. So Lance, I'm not sure if you have a deck. I'll allow you to kind of take it from here.
Sure. Yeah, you want to stop sharing? There we go. So, hey everyone, Lance Taweel. I like Josh said, I've been with Okta for a little over 2 years now, based out of our East Coast headquarters in DC, but work with organizations in the Southeast and in South Florida as well. So, Josh kind of focused on the workforce identity use case. So more of the identity management for employees of organizations. And I'm just going to dive in quickly to our other main use case, which is what we call customer identity. This is focusing on identity management, authentication, and single sign-on for the customers of our customers, right? So can you guys see my screen, by the way?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Cool.
Doing good.
So people are coming to us for these use cases for a few major reasons. So the first is being able to simplify registration, authentication, and single sign-on to give customers a frictionless experience, whether this means enabling customers to sign in with their own identity providers, or giving customers single sign-on across multiple different apps and products that their customers are using. This is a main reason. Another is that by offloading identity management, authentication, and authorization to Okta, developers don't have to build and write all this code and maintain it themselves. So we can actually help our customers launch new applications, new customer experiences, or meet new requirements faster because their developers aren't having to write this code. Additionally, Okta gives you that single pane of glass to manage and control who has access to what, and be able to have that single source of truth to manage everything. And then possibly most importantly is to ensure the enterprise grade security across your customer applications. And we're actually seeing, everyone wants to make their apps secure, but we're starting to see a lot of our customers in financial services, in healthcare, needing to meet requirements, compliance requirements around multi-factor authentication, whether it's the NYDFS or HIPAA regulations. So, there are use cases now where people are reaching out saying, hey, we have a requirement around multi-factor authentication, but we don't want our developers to have to write this ourselves. Let's offload it to Okta. And so we have a few different use cases that we're really proud of. So MLB built their new application that they were building last year on Okta. And Okta's handling all of the authentication and all the millions of customers that are, buying tickets and whatnot through the new MLB application. And another great example too, to touch a little bit more on the B2B use case, is the Adobe Creative Cloud runs on Okta. So all of their different customers are able to sign into the Adobe Creative Cloud with their identity provider. So some people call it enterprise single sign-on. We call it inbound federation. but especially for software companies, and I see this a lot in my space, their customers are saying, hey, you need to support this. Our customers are asking to be able to sign in with their identity providers. How can we do this? How can we make this easier? And Okta can help implement this in a really scalable and easy way. And that in turn helps some of our software companies win larger contracts with some of these larger companies that they are trying to close deals with, because these larger companies have these kind of requirements around enterprise single sign-on, around two-factor authentication to be able to do business with them. So these use cases are exciting because in some cases, we're helping our customers sell more of their software and meet requirements for their customers. So that's a big one that I see. I think Josh kind of already touched on this, but we're working with organizations across all different industries to help with B2B and B2C identity management and authentication. Everything from the leaders in software like ServiceNow and Box to companies like MGM, where their M-Life loyalty program, Okta is handling and managing and securing all the identities of that program across all the different properties and experiences that MGM offers. So, I know we've talked a lot about the some of these larger names, but I think Josh, you might have a couple of local references that are more in the SMB space that could be relevant.
Yeah, there's
for some of Henry's customers.
Yeah, there's a really cool customer that I worked with just last year called ABB Optical. You may have heard them. If you wear contact lenses, you're probably an ABB Optical customer. But they were already a big thought leader in the space, a very successful company, but they were leaving on the table a huge opportunity for growth. So ABB Optical, they offer contact lenses and digital products to help optometry practices deliver better care for their patients. And they're trying to aggregate all of those disparate portals, those disparate products into one centralized place because their customers, it's not that they didn't have great products, it's that their customers didn't see them. And so like what we're able to do is provide a single pane of glass where their customers get access the disparate portals and digital products that ABB Optical offered and actually help them grow revenue and deliver a better experience for their customers and ultimately provide better care for patients. So a really cool company that we got to work with, and today they're fully deployed. If you ever go onto their website and sign up for their programs, it's Okta that's facilitating the authentication, the user experience.
Where are they headquartered or located?
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Right here in South Florida. Awesome.
Very good. Cool. And so before I wrap up, thanks for that, Josh. So just a holistic overview of the identity and access, the customer identity and kind of the products that are available here. So we can help with authentication, authorization, and user management for customer facing B2B and B2C applications. We can also help to protect access to these applications with adaptive multi-factor authentication and enforce things like geofencing, anomaly detection, and even recognize devices that your customers are signing into your platform with, to also help give them a better experience, but still ensuring that that is your customer who's logging in and it's not a bad actor, right? And adaptive MFA is also becoming coming up more and more in terms of compliance and regulations. So it's a good way to get ahead of future requirements, especially if you're in a heavily regulated space like healthcare or financial services, right? And then I touched on this a little bit before, but the B2B integrations is where I personally see the most demand, I think, from my customers. Working in the SMB space, I work with a lot of software companies, and this enables these companies to be able to the customers of our customers to be able to sign in with their identity providers, have single sign-on across the different applications that they use. And that's just becoming way and more common. A lot of companies are starting to expect this, and Okta enables our customers to offer this in a really scalable and secure way. So that is kind of an overview of where we are. I think Josh already went through where we fall on the Forrester and Gartner wave and whatnot. So I'll stop sharing and see, Henry, if you have any questions or anything that Josh, you'd want to add.
No, on my end, I was glad to see that the Magic Quadrant slide you have, because a lot of customers like to see, well, who are the leaders in this space and that technology. So it's very nice to see in both of those that you guys are up at the top. So congrats on that, and that'll bring some validation when we talk to clients and say, well, who is Okta? And you say, look here, we're right up here. We're the leaders. We can deliver, and we have the vision. So that's awesome. And obviously, everything around identity, like you said today, because we're all working from home and our workplaces have shifted a lot. I think, some report I saw back in January was like, hacking was up like 500%, some exaggerated number, because now they're taking advantage of, hey, our guard is down a little bit because we're working from home, and maybe people were kind of ushered home without having the proper security mechanisms and identifications in place initially. Probably over time, we've all scaled and gotten there. But at the beginning, I think everybody was scrambling, getting home and trying to make this thing work. So I'm glad you have a strong posture there for workforce identity and also customer identity. Very, very significant technologies here in the market. So I really appreciate you bringing this, to bear to my my network, my colleagues, my viewers, everybody that watches these videos of mine every week. This is an amazing technology. I think they should take a look at this. I know you work on different markets and large customers, et cetera. This solution fits any client, or is there a specific client or size of client that is better suited for this type of technology? What's your insight on that?
Yeah, so
Sure.
Okta is actually designed to integrate, so it's we're vendor or we're industry agnostic.
Right.
It doesn't really matter the employee size. I would say that like the more disparate technology that an organization has, the better it is a fit for Okta, I would say. Having a lot of cloud applications and complexity in your AD environment is helpful.
Okay.
But really, like any kind of complexity on the identity front, we can help reduce and simplify with the platform.
Agreed. So we work with the, smallest startups in the world all the way up to some of the world's largest organizations and, the hundreds of thousands of organizations. So we don't necessarily have a sweet spot in terms of size of company.
Okay.
But it's, like Josh said, if there's a lot of complexity, if they're using a lot of applications, lots of different cloud applications, that just makes the need for Okta to have that single access point so much greater. And also too, like we talked about with the onboarding and offboarding, if you're using a bunch of applications and the number of applications that you have to onboard and offboard people to is large and growing, I mean, having something like Okta in place is really a huge game changer. So I think that definitely makes an impact on how good of a fit there is. And from the perspective what I was talking about, I mean, any organization that's building a new B2C customer experience, maybe has their own software application or portal that people are authenticating through, and they either want to step up the security or make that login experience more seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those organizations can be a good fit. And, we see that all sorts of organizations have portals that their customers are accessing, from, manufacturing to entertainment to healthcare to finance. So it really just, I think we can fit into a lot of different different industries and sizes, but there are certain kind of scenarios where Okta is more of a slam dunk for people than others.
Right. Appreciate that. And yeah, and that's what I'm saying too. Obviously, you and I are working on some business down here in South Florida. Actually, the three of us will be doing a lot of business here across South Florida. So I look forward to that. And I really want to thank you both for coming on this show. and presenting Okta so professionally, so thoroughly. I think my viewers can pretty quickly understand where you guys fit in the market and where there may be a need for their business. So I'm going to urge all my viewers to take a serious look at Okta, and in the case of of any interest on your part, get a hold of me, and then I'll reach out to Lance and Josh, and we'll figure out based on the account mapping who is the account rep on their end that'll work with us. But these two guys are sharp. They know Okta inside out. I've been on presentations with them, and they're outstanding, and they have a team behind them that is also outstanding. So I would encourage you, all my viewers, to take a look at this. At the very least, have a conversation with us, and let's see if there's a fit, and maybe we can provide that extra level of security in your environment that you're looking forward to, mitigate any penetration risk. So both of you, thank you again. I hope we can do another one of these in the near future, and maybe we'll do if you have some special screens to look at, we'll look, or dashboards. We'll talk about that offline later.
Sounds good, Henry. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Henry, thanks so much for having us on. I really appreciate it. You have been awesome to work with so far, and I know IT Savvy has also been an excellent partner with Okta. So we really appreciate the partnership, and you giving us the floor to present today. So thank you.
Thank you both. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care, Josh. Take care, Lance. Bye, guys.